praises Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Double honours unto the elders, the GMS. Honours out to the brothers around the four corners doing the work in sincerity and truth. My name's Amarth Kwam. I'm from GMS London Camp. I'm going to do a quick video on the topic of martial law. I'll start by reading the definition of martial law. Is a military government involving the suspension of ordinary law. Let me read a document from the commonsensehow.com. It says the stages of martial law which they roll out. I'm going to start by reading. Under martial law, Obama can effectively eliminate all opposition to his administration. Under martial law, Obama can eliminate all media opposition to his presidency. Right, so the media is one thing that they cut out during martial law, and also the laws. Now in Thailand, as you know, they've got this martial law thing going on, where one of the things they did was stop the radio and the media from being able to publicize the events going on in Thailand.
First, after months of sometimes violent political unrest in Thailand, the military has declared martial law.
Well, Naga, the military has given itself sweeping powers under the martial law provisions. We're not clear, though, at this stage how it's going to use those powers. It can ban gatherings of people, it can detain people for up to 7 days, it can impose military courts. It has already taken some of the more political TV stations and radio stations off air.
So that's one thing they did during martial law, which is currently happening as we speak. Additionally, under martial law, Obama can remain in power, perhaps indefinitely. The pattern for the implementation of martial law follows three very distinct stages. Stage 1 of martial law consists of the gradual rollout of government controls over citizen liberties. Travel is restricted through inland border checkpoints. Okay, so I'm going to fill this through the scriptures about the checkpoints. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, and I shall read from the 17th verse. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. That simply explains martial law, recorded in the scriptures. I'll read it again where it says, travel is restricted through inland border checkpoints. The interval DHS VIPR programs which randomly search citizens at public events and on the highways are now in place. Citizens are conditioned by the TSA that they do not control or own their bodies, as the flying public is molested by the TSA. Every day in our nation's airports, in an extreme violation of our citizens' Fourth Amendment rights. Stage 1 also begins to create an enemies list, and we have already seen this in the MIAC report, in which Christians, Ron Paul supporters, and Second Amendment supporters, libertarians and constitutionalists have been branded as domestic terrorists. So basically they can call anyone a terrorist under martial law. And we noticed today that they've got a list which is known as the Project Megiddo. I believe it's page 23. It lists the black Hebrew Israelites as what they try and refer to us to, which, you know, there's no such thing as black Hebrew Israelites. There's Hebrew Israelites, because you have Israelites which were scattered throughout 4 corners of the world, you know. And the scriptures do say, I believe it says Ephraim is like a cake unturned, because you got so many different shades of brown among our nation of Israel. There's many of which our people are just like these other nations, because through miscegenation and mixing of seed. Our people look like the other nations, man, but does that mean they're not our people through the seed of their fathers? Unknown or known descent. That's why the scriptures say try every spirit, man. Because when we read the scriptures, if it resonates with you, then you can only be an Israelite, man. You can't be anyone else. And that's why you have brothers waking up in the truth, you know, waking up to who their nationality is according to the Bible, and so forth, man. So this ain't nothing to do with being a so-called black Hebrew Israelite, man. This ain't no so-called black movement. But that's why they label us that, to further propagate their mission, which is to label us just straight racist, and that we have no reasoning. Right, I'll go back to this document, reading on. Stage 2. Martial law implementation becomes obvious to all citizens except to the ones who invoke cognitive dissonance as a psychological coping mechanism. Stage 2 is marked by restrictions on travel, the loss of free speech, and on the right to assemble to air grievances against the government. Right, man, so with that I'm going to go to Matthew, the 24th chapter, and I'll begin at verse 6, and it says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumours of wars." And that's what's been going on all around the world right now. You have the thing going on in Kiev. You have the war that's going on between, you know, the media wars that's going on between Iran, Russia, America. You got the Iraq war that's just gone and still taking place, what's going on in their countries. You've got Iran and so forth. I'll read it again. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumours of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass." So the scripture says these things have to happen for the kingdom to come. The downfall of this place has to be, the scriptures have to be fulfilled, and the prophecies, so that our kingdom can be brought forth. It reads, "For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Because there's still more prophecies to come forth, such as the chip, the RFID chip, spoken of in Revelation's 13th chapter. Reading on, it says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and the kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places." Which you've had a lot of earthquakes going on around the world. Recently they had a pestilence, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a form of flu.
This potentially deadly virus is spreading at a much faster rate than ever before. MERS first emerged in Saudi Arabia in 2012, but in the last month, cases have more than doubled.
Reading on, Matthew 24:8. Well, also another earthquake you had was in Haiti as well, and that was a big catastrophic event that happened, messing up all the inhabitants of that land. All these are the beginning of sorrows, and then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Right, man. So that's going into, you know, men will be given up. Like, when this martial law goes on, you're going to have men that are on the list that they're going to try and apprehend and bring through their justice system, or even without their justice system, and just keep you captive and hostage against your will, and there's nothing you can do about it because the law has been, what do you call it, done away with completely. And there's something called the habeas corpus, which I'll read. The habeas corpus is a writ or court order that commands an individual or a government official who has restrained another to produce the prisoner at a designated time and place so that the court can determine the legality of custody and decide whether to order the prisoner's release. But during martial law, a Military Commissions Act of 2006 possibly rescinds these limits by suspending habeas corpus, but the law is not clear on whether it applies to US citizens. But it doesn't matter, because as soon as martial law comes in, that habeas corpus is going to be done away with, where you can be detained as however long they wish to do so. I'm going to read on. Stage 2, the free internet as we know it will disappear. Subsequently, the truthful alternative media will disappear as well. Stage 2 is also characterized by the total loss of due process of law with regard to detainment, imprisonment, or worse. Right, because you're not going to be able to access the websites that you want, and also the media will be cut off where you can't even read any of the current events happening in that particular region at the time. The stage is also marked by limiting participation of members of the society who have been previously identified as enemies of the state. This would include the ability to hold certain kinds of employment, a special designation on a form of national ID. Oh, it also, part of stage 2 is also the loss of private property. So people with, that's why the scripture says, lay not treasure upon earth but in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt. Because when martial law kicks in, you're going to lose your properties too. And for you people that don't believe a woman's a property, when martial law comes in, you're going to see if your property don't get taken away from you, man. Right. Stage 2 martial law will follow a false flag event in which the internet will be taken down, all bank accounts, pension funds and 401ks will be frozen and stolen. So your banks are going to go into liquidation, you know, and the central bank's going to, what they're trying to do is do away with the federal currency reserve note, and they're going to basically establish a creditless system, which they're currently trying to implement now, you know, with the Oyster card in the UK. Certain things you can get discount on online if you use your card. In the store it's more, different things. Extreme travel restrictions will be put in place. Random house-to-house searches will be conducted. Right, so they're going to be able to come into your house, whatever you have, whether it be your woman, your daughters, your child. They can do whatever they want with them because you now have no rights. It says, what will they be looking for? Of course, they will be looking for guns, and false flag events will give them the pretext to do so. Right, I'll give you an example. In Kiev, you had some snipers, which were basically, you had people protesting and rioting at the same time, while other people were communing to shopping centres, etc. And a lot of the public got shot, police got shot. And they said they ran a test and they found out that the bullets that were used by the snipers were the same bullets firing at both sides. So that was part of a problem reaction solution to cause more problems in the midst, so that you have to cry out for a solution, because the public are protesting but they haven't got no guns. So they turn to their government, or they submit themselves. Right, I'm going to read on from Matthew 24 and 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And that's exactly what they're going to do, man. We're going to have to suffer for the name of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai in righteousness. Yeah? Just so that the word can be established on earth. So that everyone shall know that the prophets came, man. And there's going to be men that live, and there's going to be men that die. Who die in the name of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai. I believe there's a scripture on it, you know, who die in the name of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai shall rise first, man. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise. This is going into the time right now where you've got Nate Satan and all these other factions who call themselves Hebrew Israelites. You know, got conflicting opinions, you know, that go against the true doctrine of the scriptures. They're the false prophets that shall rise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Right, man, because this place teaches evidently so. All they do is teach about love. Love your neighbor, when they don't even understand the scriptures. The neighbors are the people in the truth with you, man, following the scriptures as the scriptures said. Who believes from me as the scripture have said, that's what the Lord said, right? And that's evidently what the society as a whole don't do. But then they like to say that the UK is a God-fearing country. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And that's what the word endure means, to be made hard. So you have to go through all kinds of chastisement, and through the fire of adversity, you're purified, you know. And that's how we become worthy of the kingdom. Because the way we were currently living was just living wicked, and the Most High has to purge that wickedness out of us, bringing us in unto righteousness. Where the scriptures say our righteousness is as filthy rags unto the Most High. And it says, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, which is happening now, and then shall the end come. So when you see these different groups teaching about the Bible, that's part of what was written in the scriptures, that you'll have false prophets and then you'll have the real prophets, man. So when you see these things, you got people who say, well, I just want to take in everyone's opinion, everyone's entitled. That's incorrect, man. You know, scriptures talk about being a rather hot than be cold, or hot or cold, rather than be lukewarm, for you spit you out of his mouth, man. So you've got to be either in this thing or out of it, man. Right, that's that. This is 2nd Esdras 15 and 8. I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. So if love is supposed to be what makes the world good, why has the Lord said He wants to come back and bring this place under His rule completely and destroy it, and put the people who you call so-called wetbacks, niggers, spics, coons, monkeys, and put them above all you other nations under total subjection with a rod of iron that will bash you over the heads with it in the highest form of rulership. Why would the Most High want that to happen? Because you're wicked, man, and your love is of Satan. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they have wickedly exercised themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Right, because when you die, you go to the spirit world and you're saying, look, Lord, our people are dying out here. Why, when are you going to destroy this place? And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues, as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. So all the plagues from Egypt are going to be brought back again, and they're going to be worse than they were back then. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God shall bring upon it. Right, so America's going to get destroyed, man, through thermonuclear destruction, but during that, you're going to have all kind of hell break loose on America. That they till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail, through blasting and hail, and with fearful constellation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So there's going to be famine as well. People are going to starve, and that's the worst way to die. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So what's going to happen is, as you know, in Thailand, people ain't regarding the government have been set back through exhausting their legislations and all their activities. It hasn't worked, so now they've brought in martial law to regain control over the masses. Once that fails, once the people realize that they're under austerity, they're gonna have no choice but to fight back. That's why in America right now they're trying to remove all the guns and stop people's rights and go against the Constitution, because technically you are under a form of martial law right now, where they don't regard the current laws or the Constitution. When they implement the full extent of martial law, then you're going to be defenseless. So that's the end of this quick video. My name is Amar Kwan. All praises Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the elders, the GMS, and Shalom.